All right, welcome back. We're episode 10 now of the Avid Investor Podcast with me, your host Josh Adamek, and I'm super excited here. I got a very special guest. It's not only a good friend and mentor of mine, but it's the first guest on the podcast here, and it's an absolute honor to welcome my friend and mentor, Mr. John Burley, to the podcast.
Oh, it's awesome to be here on number 10 and the first guest. I am honored, my friend. Really
Yeah,
proud of you for
yeah.
taking this on, Josh. This is a huge commitment, and people are just going to be blessed by what you're doing. So it's
Thank
just
you.
another amazing thing that Josh and Avid Investors doing again.
All right. Well, thank you. Thank you for that, sir. So I appreciate your time and I respect your time. And for those that don't know, it's not only an honor for Mr. Burley to be here, but do know that he's coming off of a 4-day event here. So the voice box, the throat might be a little dry, and for him to commit to come on and be a guest on the podcast, it means a lot. So thank you for that. Just a little bit about Mr. Burley and how we met, how we got involved, or how we met and became friends is if we go back, I've talked many times about my commitment, my involvement with our local RIA, Acre of Pittsburgh. So if we go back to 2009, that was the first time that Mr. Burley came to speak at one of our monthly meetings. And I sat in the back of the room and I listened and I'm like, man, this guy really knows what he's talking about. And that was about it. Until 2014, I did nothing in 2009. 2014, Mr. Burley came back to Acre, spoke again. I'm like, man, this guy really knows what he's talking about. so I knew of the Burley model and the cash flow model and the private equity model. I heard about it in 2009, and I took what I heard at that meeting and didn't do much with it. 2014, I'm like, I heard him again, and I heard him speak again, and I heard what he was talking about again. I'm like, this is really cool. I got to do this. So I invested. I bought, I took home one of the basic courses, the Ultimate Cash Flow or whatever it was, whatever the course was, and I listened to it probably 100 times, 150 times. And I'm like, man, this guy really knows what he's talking about. I like him. He's a great speaker. He's a great mentor, great educator. It's a great model, but I went through the course over and over again, through the trainings, and I never took action. So I never put that material to work. And then if we fast forward again to 2017, I was much further along in my investing career, my full-time investing career. I was on the board at Acre of Pittsburgh, and I asked Mr. Burley to come back to Acre again. And I sat there in the room, from beginning to end, and I was at a certain point in my life, in my investing career. I've done a lot of deals, I've done a lot of business, but it was a much different business model that I've talked about with some ups and downs and highs and lows, and just trying to, work through that and grow the business. And then, when I sat in the room in 2017, well, leading up to that meeting in 2017, I started connecting with some of the other folks that have been involved on a high level with Mr. Burley and the Burley family. And come to find out, some of those guys got involved early on back in 2009. Many of us know a good friend of ours, Eric Mockenhoff. He got involved in 2009. And I knew what Eric was doing. I kind of thought I knew what he was doing, but I had no idea how much Eric was doing and how much he had accomplished until we started talking leading up to the 2017 meeting. So all things combined, I made the commitment where it's like, I got to do this. I need this. I need this mentorship, this guidance in my life. You stood out to me. Both on a personal level, or on a business level, and on a personal level. You're an absolute ace when it comes to real estate finance. I've never heard someone ask a question that you weren't able to answer spot on, without thinking twice. But even more so, what really stuck out to me is your commitment and love for your family. And your students and everybody that you guide. I mean, we call it the Burley family. So, we're part of the Burley family. And to me, that's what really stuck out. And that's what was very important to me, or what became very important to me as we grew our friendship and our business relationship and our friendship. So, just wanted to throw that all out there. That's how we met, and then kind of progressed into our friendship and our relationship. And, I say all that because, again, I came back to you. Here we are, 2021, and I asked you to come speak at Acre again. So again, I'm honored that you're here and you're a guest on the show, on the podcast. But reason why I wanted to do this is kind of let people know about, what can be expected. I mean, what we're going to talk about at the meeting, and have them learn, a little bit about you, your teachings, your business model, both, talk maybe a little bit about the book, and then, that we can go into the cash flow model a little bit if you'd like as well.
Yeah, awesome. So first of all, Josh, is the respect and admiration I have for you and your organization is incredible. Those that don't know, Josh is one of our Century Club members, and we have, tens of thousands of them around the world. And that would be somebody who came in, did our model, and has over 100 properties in portfolio, cash flowing. And, it's pretty huge numbers. It would literally put you in the 0.02% of real estate investors. So the top 0.2% of the real estate investors in the world, because very, very few people ever really have 100 properties. Not just 100 flips that you made or lost a little money on, but 100 properties that actually just pump out income every single month. When you said it right, like you have, I mean, anytime you want, you kind of just step down and let the portfolio and the team run it for you, which is part of the duty. It's a permanent escape plan.
Well, as I was thinking leading into this, coming up to this talk, when you came back in 2017, that was maybe my third strike, or time to knock one over the fences. So,
yeah, and then it didn't hurt that there's a couple Century Club members ahead of you in Pittsburgh, and you're kind of going like, wow, their life is a lot easier. And we talked about this, when COVID was at its worst, a lot of, just like with me, a lot of my, high flying peers outside the real estate world, when COVID hit, I mean, they're all scrambling, they're panicking, and they're like, oh my God, if this goes on for a couple more months, I'm in big trouble. I'm not going to be able to make my overhead. I can't pay my bills. And, geez, am I going to have to sell my house? And they're pushing the panic button, 90 days into a downturn, which downturns are always around the corner. And then and then you're noticing it's like, wow, me, speaking for yourself and the people it's like, life is good. We're getting to spend more time with the family and kind of taking advantage of it. I know it was great. We have a summer home up in the mountains, and when COVID hit, my daughter came home and my son came home, and we spent like 4 months together in the mountains, just using COVID as the great excuse to have some family time. And that's not too often you get your kids in your mid-20s to come home.
Yeah, it was a real eye opener, that's for sure. I mean, talking, you had plenty of time to spend time with the family, and then, talk to people and friends in the business, and kind of seeing what everybody's up to. And you're right. I mean, my friends that are in the business that have big portfolios, cash flow model. I mean, Eric spent a month up at the lake, on the boat with his kids, and several others. I mean,
nobody knew how safe or unsafe the world was. So it's like, let's just go off to our safe places and do that. And when we look at this, so we're going to be talking to Acre Tuesday on what's the date on the 2nd?
Tuesday, November 2nd. Yeah, that's and then it's at the same hotel, the Doubletree Hotel in Green Tree, and just throwing it out there now. Everybody's welcome as a guest. We've made. Yeah, we've made okay. So everybody's welcome as a guest. Not just Acre members, but anyone's welcome. It's a free meeting, and then to top it off, we've made arrangements. We've twisted your arm a little bit, but everybody that attends the meeting is going to get a free copy of your book, Money Secrets of the Rich. So we'll talk about this a little bit on this episode, but I mean this changed my life. I mean, this was a game changer with, the 7 steps of financial freedom and the other principles in the book. I mean, it's a game changer.
Yeah. So a lot of, and as you know, For those of you that don't know who I am, I'm the founder and CEO of a private equity company. I founded it in 1989. I come out of Wall Street. I was the first guy to do huge portfolios with single family homes. So we had to develop the model. We had to streamline it. It took a few years to get it all down. Today, obviously, Josh, what you received, Eric received, and everybody's going to be at the meeting is, you're getting the 30-year proven model that's been done forever. You don't have to be a trailblazer. You don't have to invent a new wheel. You already got a killer wheel delivered to you.
Right.
And,
Absolutely.
and what I realized is that knowing so many people from that side of things, that were, early days, $500,000 earners, but really later in my career, I mean, most of my peers, were 7 or 8 figure income people. And I did realize that many of them, although they made all this incredible income and had these amazing flash cars and these huge homes on the side of the hill with these massive mortgages, is when the what hit the fan, they were in trouble real quick.
Oh yeah.
And I've been around long enough to see a couple downturns. And so I had learned and developed money skills over the years that I actually found were more important than being able to magically turn on a faucet, which not everybody's gonna. It's not for everybody. But how just regular people could do it. We first actually introduced the book in Australia, and a little over 20 million people, over 1 million people acquired the book. It actually became the #1 best-selling book. We even outsold Harry Potter for 2 weeks, and it was 3.5 years the #1 selling business book, which a couple of my friends who were authors were kind of pissed off because I was #1 for 3.5 years. And so it just really impacted a lot of people. And what we just really focus on is that anybody can become rich, whether they become a big investor or not. Anybody can become rich. And the idea is that in the first part of the meeting on Tuesday the 2nd is we're just going to go through and we're going to lay that foundation for everybody. We're going to introduce you to there's 7 levels of investor. We're going to let you clearly identify where you're at. And what you need to do to upgrade. And then we're going to go through the 7 steps to financial freedom, which are a lot of them are pretty basic common sense. Some of them are far more sophisticated, but just showing you step by step. These are the things that really wealthy people do versus the regular people. There was a book, The Millionaire Next Door, and I was actually one of the people who was part of the research on it. It was done by the Life Insurance Marketing Research Association. And we would hold seminars and bring people in. And what they thought a rich person was, the researchers, versus what us, the people who serve them as planners, is like, you don't have a clue what you're talking about. This is not how they live. They don't drink champagne. They don't want caviar. Heck, they want a Bud Light and little hot dog weenies with cocktail sauce.
Right.
They don't live in $20 million mansions. They don't drive Rolls Royces. They have really amazing money skills. And so what we're going to do is the first part of the meeting is we're just going to go through those 7 steps. We're going to show you how to pay off all your consumer debt, including your home and cars, in 3 to 7 years. We're going to show you, how to set up a system that you literally can learn, set it up once and it will run itself for you, and just kind of shift those habits and make you aware of the things that you need to improve and enhance on. Really simple, easy steps that anybody can do. Most of the world, I think we've talked about this before, Josh, in America, and for the last 15 years, I haven't gone out and done a ton of speaking, as you know. And the reason is, at the end of the day, my job is I'm not like most guys who teach. I'm not a speaker. I'm the founder and CEO of a private equity company, and I have a large obligation to thousands of families to do what we do, to provide the returns we do, and to make money we do. We work with a lot of very large investment companies around the world. Most of the world knows me as the money guy who happened to get rich in real estate, because the money systems and the money beliefs are more important than the real estate. If you do the real estate great, if you do the money stuff great, then the real estate's really easy. And then the second half meeting, what we're going to do is we're going to teach you not to be a real estate investor anymore, but actually have a real estate investment company. They can be part-time with a handful of properties, or you can learn what I taught Josh and Eric and tens of thousands of people and, grow into a Century Club member. We at the meeting we were just at, we actually had 2 new Century Club members. One of them, a friend of yours, Trisha Rockwood. She's over the hurdle now.
No kidding.
Yeah, from 19 to 21, starting in January of 19 to 21 during COVID, she acquired over 100 properties during COVID. While most people said you couldn't.
Yeah, when I last saw Trish, what was that, a month and a half ago or something? I was out in Arizona, and she was at like 80. So she bought 20 homes over the last month or 2.
Yeah. She's just going for it. She's an amazing lady.
Yeah.
So we're just going to really go through, the 7 levels, the non-existent, the borrower, the saver, the passive, the automatic investor, the active investor, the capitalist, and just kind of show you what these people do, because success leaves clues. I mean, it's not luck. People who are very, very wealthy, who retain their money for decades and generations. I work with a lot of family offices. One we're just working with now, they're out of Michigan. Josh, it's fourth generation.
Yeah.
For 4 generations, the family has gotten wealthier and wealthier and wealthier. And my most enjoyable conversations would be with grandpa. Great grandfather's actually alive. And the last time I talked to him about 12 months ago, 95 years old, and he was reviewing and updating his 100-year plan at 95. Now, he doesn't
plan for this stuff?
Yeah, he doesn't plan on living 100 years, but he's got a plan for his family. And some of the work I'm doing now with his son, the grandfather, is actually work that the fourth generation, and the one who's going to be running the money is a daughter. We're working on what my son and his great granddaughter are going to be doing in the future with what we do. So it's just amazing the legacy they create and the wealth. But to me, it's like, and I wasn't surprised. 30 years ago, I'd have been surprised, but it's like, well, of course, the 95-year-old guy who's a multi-billionaire is working on a 100-year plan. That's why he's a multi-billionaire. I mean, most of us spend more time planning for a vacation than we do for our life.
Yeah. So
we're going to give you.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead, John.
Go ahead. No, while you're on that subject with multi generations, the one thing I'd like to touch on at some point is the AIP, the automatic investment plan that you talk a lot about in the book and both in your teachings. I mean, to me, that was just as important, if not more important, than some of the other things that I've learned from you and from the Burley model. When I joined, when I committed and when I joined the Burley family back in 2017, that was shortly after my kids were born. So I had 6-month-old twins at home when I headed out to Arizona for my first time, and reading the book and learning about the AIP, the automatic investment plan. I mean, the only thing they have to their advantage, or one of the things they have to their advantage right now, is time. So fortunately, we got the AIP set up early on with the 529s, the IRAs, Roth IRAs, the trust funds, and minimal, what could be minimal contributions yield massive results when you start them very early. I mean, when my kids are 6 months old and they have their investment accounts set up, I mean, you look at an investment calculator from when they're 18, when they're 20, when they're 40, when they're 65, and what that contribution can account to or can equal. I mean, it's just amazing.
Oh yeah, it's incredible. It's of the 7 steps to financial freedom, it's the 5th step. Yeah. And literally, and we'll show you this on Tuesday night. Literally, you could take $2,000 a year, so $167 a month, and put it into a silly little old mutual fund. I mean, not even a good investment, just a silly little old mutual fund, and start plopping the money in at 25. So that gap between 20 and 25, we'll pretend you were in school or doing whatever you were doing, but you didn't do anything with it. And from 25 to 65, just that normal working years. Silly little old mutual fund, but we're going to teach you way better than mutual fund. But you could just start and stay there, and literally, if you took 10% of what you made, so basically if you were, poverty level, making $25,000 a year, if you took 10% of what you made, you put it in the silly little mutual fund at age 65, you're a millionaire. Now, most of us can do better than that.
Right.
We're going to show you how literally on your existing income, you can get debt free and grow an investment account if you never do a real estate deal. Now, I know most of you are going to want to learn how to do the real estate deals. So what we're going to show you is we're going to show you the model we use. I've actually been doing it for over 40 years, did the private equity company 32 years ago. We just scaled it through the roof. And, as you know, Josh, because you've seen it, you've done your research. I've been around through multiple downturns, including the last big one.
Right.
The model, is very, very resilient. It actually works best when the markets go down, when all the flippers are going bankrupt, when all the hard money lenders are being pulled under because the flippers can't make their payments, when everybody's, the sky is falling. We're just sitting and smiling and watching the money come in every single month. We're not happy that bad things are happening to other people, but we're very happy that we had a model that actually really works through all the different cycles.
Right.
And we're going to talk about the cycles, where we're at today. We're on a higher part of the cycle, how we invest, A lot of my training that I got young in the streets working, I started selling fruit door to door when I was 6 years old. So I'm way over 50 years,
Right.
in business now. And we're just going to teach you guys step by step what it is we do. On the real estate side, we're going to show you the exact properties we buy and why, exactly what we fix or do not fix on them, exactly who we put them and why.
Mhm.
And we're going to show you that, cash on cash, we're consistently making 20, 30% on regular houses that you drive by every day in Pittsburgh. And you think, wow, I don't even know if I can make money on that. And I
Yeah.
see Josh smiling because Josh, whether you guys know or not, is one of our Century Club members.
Yeah.
Josh has a big basket filled with all these little, just regular bread and butter, what I call lunch pail Joe houses that are just cash flow machines, man.
And that's what I say. I mean, they don't look as cool on Instagram, but that's where the real wealth is made. That's where we focus our portfolio. I was having that conversation with a guy at the gym this morning. Just regular houses, regular neighborhoods. I mean, we invest in B class neighborhoods. In Pittsburgh, they're the 1950s brick ranches. I mean, I know, it's a much different market than Arizona. You guys consider something that was built in the 1980s to be old.
Yep.
I'd be doing
We're new.
backflips if I could have a portportfolio full of homes that were built in the 80s. But that's our market. We're regular houses, regular neighborhoods. We just buy a lot of them. And again, that's the teachings of the cash flow model. It was designed to thrive in a down market. Not just survive, but thrive in a down market.
Right. It actually
And
works better in a down than in
yeah.
any other market. And then the other thing we're going to really do, like I come out to your club about every 5 years. I've got a couple handfuls of clubs that once every 5 years or so I go out to. There's also the largest real estate convention, which is later this month in another part of the country, and I'll be going out there. And the lady who runs it, really really nice lady, mutual friend of Josh's is mine, and she says it's like, John, everybody else is basically trying to teach you, how to get your broke brother, your broke sister, and three broke friends to get you $50,000. You can go buy a really cruddy property in a really really bad neighborhood, and hope you get lucky and don't have cost overruns that can make a little bit of money on a flip. And you walk in and you tell people that, look, the heck with that. I'm going to teach you how to raise money Wall Street style. And you're going to raise, you're going to have millions, in some cases like you, tens of millions of dollars to invest in real estate. And literally because I come from Wall Street, I understand what most people are doing. You're looking for hard money lenders and you're paying them points and interest. Well, from Wall Street, we have a different view of money. When we bring money on to place it, we get a placement fee, and we're going to show you exactly how we do it. Because every single house I do, every single house that Josh does that he puts in his portfolio, we make an upfront $10,000 fee, legally, ethically, morally, as a non-security. We'll walk you through those details on Tuesday night. Yeah, it's going to be a full night. It's going to be a full night. I'll tell you. I think the guy who said it best was back in 1999, Craig Chandler, who has 440 Burley houses. Craig Chandler said, yeah, your first evening with John, it's like trying to drink out of a fire hydrant.
Absolutely.
Because we're going to give you, those of you that want content, that want information, there is no fluff, there is no filler. We're just going to give you tons and tons and tons. And so we're going to show you how you can just change the game. So if you guys are in real estate, you already know the problem, man. By the time you figure out what you're doing, after you've done that first chunk of properties over, a few months or a few years, whatever it was for you, the bank no longer wants to loan you money and or you're out of down payment money. So once you figured out what to do, you can't borrow money. So then you're trying to find those owner finance deals, and they're out there, but it really is the needle in the haystack journey. You're trying to do the flips and paying for the hard money, but in your heart, man, flipping is good. It makes some coin, but it's never going to make you wealthy, and it's never going to let you retire. To retire,
long term is where it's at.
Yeah, you got to have assets that you own that somebody else has paid for, which is what we do. And so we're just going to show you how to instantly take all the chains off. You don't have to play small ball anymore. Kind of the analogy I use is like so many of us were taught basically just, to be begging for the crumbs that fall on the floor from the big table. And we're going to change that. We're going to change that Tuesday night. We're going to teach those of you that want to learn how to sit at the big table and have the feast. Your life of looking for crumbs and being broke and not having money to do deals is unbelievable. And I talked with an investor this morning. I had an investor call this morning. I have one tomorrow this morning. And this is, a long time ago, this would have been a huge thing. Now it's just no big deal. He's a doctor. He's a surgeon, and he's placing $1 million, and he's approved for several loans. He'll do 10, 12, 14 properties with that, depending which ones we buy. With us getting a $10,000 placement fee on every property, and us getting half of all the profits over the next 10, 15, 20 years. And we're going to show you exactly how to do that, because that's just, as Josh knows, that's just routine business for those of us that know how to implement the model.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And what sets this apart, the model apart from many, is it's a partnership between you and the investor. So, that's, I talk to a lot of people about that. It's, it's not a lender borrower type scenario. It's a partnership. So what the model provides is the safety, the security, the cash flow, the tax benefits, all aspects of real estate investing to your investment partners without them having to do the work involved. I mean, that's where your part of the partnership comes into play is, you're the management, or me, John, Eric, the other guys, we're the management side of that company. So it's not just a lender borrower type scenario where the investor puts in X amount of dollars and they get X in return. They get all the benefits that go along with ownership. So it's, and it's set up as a win-win scenario. It's a partnership, so it's not a fee-based, fee-based management where we've seen that before in the past, where doctor, lawyer, whoever wants to go out and be a real estate investor, so they go out and buy 10, 12 houses, and then they put them with a management company. Well, how's that work out?
Usually not great. And so what we're going to be showing you, we're going to do the money stuff first, then we're going to do the real estate and the private equity side. What we're going to be showing you is in very simple terms, broken out step by step, 1, 2, 3, ABC. We're going to show you what is in fact an extraordinarily complex model that starting in 8, 9, 10, 20 years after I did it was copied by Wall Street. Wall Street's 5 of the biggest firms paid me extremely large consulting fees to sit down with them and teach them the model. Interestingly, as I've told you, Josh, most of them didn't do what they were told, so it was fun. They rehired me 5 years later to tell them the exact same thing again, and then 3 listened.
Right.
And we're going to show you, how to do a very sophisticated, complex model, literally that I use with family offices and hedge funds and directly with Wall Street to buy one house. In a very simple model, in a very simple way. And that's the beauty to it. It was designed to be so simple in what it did with complex parts, but it was a system that was put together so that literally, because Josh is not out there doing the day-to-day, week-to-week, month-to-month stuff. He has a team. In the beginning, it was him, and then it was him, and it was one guy, and then another person, because he decided he wanted to scale it and grow it. It's designed that, hey, if you want to have 10 houses, great. You want to have 25, great, and we just have a model for how you scale that, because not everybody wants to have 100 houses and an office building and a team, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's just significant cash flow, significant income streams, and you make money from day one, guaranteed. It's kind of like, when I look at a business model, and I've read over 1,000 biographies and autobiographies about businesses, and I've studied all kinds of business models. And when you were to sum it all up, if we were to take the essence of Oxford or Harvard or Stanford MBA, it was 4 points. Number 1, you have a great idea. For those of you that like real estate, I got good news for you. You've got a great idea. So that's first thing, great idea. Number 2, you raise money. And this is where everybody falls off the rails in real estate. It's screwball. So I come from business, and in business, everybody goes like, well, of course you would raise the money before you went in business. Only a fool would try and run a business without any money. I mean, they look at real estate investors, just scratch their head. It's like, this is asinine. Why even attempt what they're attempting? And so the second thing is we treat it like a real business. And even if you got 0 or 1 houses, we're going to start from day one, real business. So we teach you very simply, very easily how to raise money from your sphere of influence. We teach you a very simple talk. We call it the talking points, which we're going to go over Tuesday night. Yeah, there's a lot to cover Tuesday night. Don't worry, I go fast.
Sure do.
And then afterwards, guys, just so you guys, I will stay literally for a few hours after if that's what you need. As long as you got questions, I just sit there and answer them. And then I've got members of my team that are going to be there, and the Burley family that's going to be there. There's actually a couple of people that are traveling out from Arizona to help out.
Okay.
So we're gonna have even extra people there.
Yeah. So that's the benefit we'll have. Your mental clock is already 3 hours behind us. So 9 p.m. to us. I mean, you're just getting started. It's 6 o'clock Arizona time.
Yeah, we're just waking up, man. And the reason I do that, I mean, Josh, you've heard me say it. I used to be new. And I clearly remember the frustration of, wow, I am excited. I am enthusiastic. This
Mhm.
man or woman would stand up front. They would share what they had to do. They made it sound like it was the greatest thing since sliced bread. It was like almost like, wow, get my program. You don't even have to do anything. You can sit around the house in your underwear and you'll get rich, which obviously isn't
Right.
how life works. But they always acted like they knew everything.
Yeah.
And they'd always say the same thing almost every time, like
Mhm.
95 to 99% of the same thing. Well, that's a really good question. Write that down and I'll answer it at the end. And when the end came, gone. They never
Yeah.
stayed and answered.
Got to run and catch a flight.
Got to
Yep.
run and catch a flight, which
Yeah.
last I checked, there's not a lot of flights leaving Pittsburgh at 10 o'clock or 11
Right.
o'clock at night. So
Right.
to me, it was like, I don't do that because, I come out, I'm there early, I stay after. So if I need to stay up till midnight or 1 a.m. and answer questions, well, I don't have to leave on a plane immediately the next day. And so we're going to be there for you guys as long as it is. First step, great idea. You got it. Real estate. Second step, we're going to teach you to raise money. Third thing, you have to have a system to monetize. This is where so many real estate investors get in trouble. They go out and they get some hard money. They put together a deal. They find a good property, and it takes too long to rehab, too long to sell. And so they run out of money before the deal is done.
Right.
So the idea is we have that placement fee, which is legal, ethical, and moral for every single one of you to do. We're going to show you how to actually do it in full compliance in the state of Pittsburgh. And there's very little hoops and things you need to do. We just have to have the proper documents and the structure, which we have available for you as an upgrade. And then we get paid $10,000 on each property. So if you're brand new, it's not like, wow, if I buy this house, it's going to work out. No, the moment I bought the house, I got $10,000. Before I even had to turn the keys to go into the house, I have $10,000. So I have money, you have money to sustain you, to take care of you, to pay your own bills and your own rent, your own house payment, your own car payments, feed your family, do the stuff that you need to do like a real business.
Or when you start growing your business, it feeds the team.
It feeds the team. And then
Yeah.
and then the fourth step, and it's one that,
Yeah.
I admire Josh, and you guys are so blessed to have him doing these podcasts with the Avid Investor, is the fourth step is we learn to run it like a real business. And then, of course, for that, obviously, we're going to give you some sound principles for that and some foundational skills. But for people who really choose to do that, we go way past Tuesday night. And
Yeah.
then we begin the study in the program. And then, some of you are going to do exactly what Eric did and Josh did. You're going to join the program. You're going to move forward. You're going to go, wow, this is what I've been looking for. This is what I want. This model makes sense. And for those of you that are already real estate investors, just kind of the question is that's been explained to me by the graduates, just like, imagine if money for deals was never an issue again. What would your company look like? What would your portfolio look like? If you could
Game
literally,
changer.
if you could get all the money you wanted. And I don't know where Josh is going to stop. 500 properties, 1,000 properties. I don't know. I know you're way over 100 and you're not even close to done.
Yeah. Yeah. We're just getting started.
I got a guy in Baltimore who's got 6,400 Burley houses.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know if we'll go that far, but
that's a lot. That's a big. I've done thousands.
Yeah. And that's a valid point. You have a lot of people in the Burley family that have big portfolios. I mean, we're always talking, countless. I mean, every time I come to one of the events or I come out to Arizona, now I come out to staff the events. That's a big thing for you too, is you don't have paid staff at your events. I mean, it's folks like me and like Eric and the other guys that come back on our own dime to help and support and help grow the Burley family. Because I mean, you've changed our lives, you've changed my life, you've changed the lives of so many, and we become connected to the other folks in what we call the Burley family. And it's nice to get out there. And I remember a couple of events ago where there was a panel. There was 5 or 6 of us up in the front of the room, and myself and Eric and Trish was up there, and Mike Stoller with the hotels. I mean, there was 5 or 6 of us in the front of the room, and every one of us had our phones out because we were taking notes about what the other person was talking about. So, I mean, it's just amazing. It's a refresher. It's another good motivator to come out there and help out. But I mean, it's just really cool that, everybody comes out and, remains a part of the Burley family.
Yeah, it was intentional, and it's a huge part of our model is that, so when you came on, you've already had some good successes in real estate, but when you came on, right there in the room on the team ahead of you was kind of who you wanted to be. It wasn't just me in the front of the room. And, I've been to a lot of events. I mean, when I'd been in the business 20 years, I'd spent over $1 million in continuing education. So I've been around and seen everything. And, and most of Miles was the back room was stuffed with salespeople who pretended they knew how to do real estate deals, but didn't. And
Right.
then there were phone rooms where people were reading scripts, which, after you'd done 2 deals, you realized you knew more than anybody on the coaching staff.
Yeah.
And so ours was always that, our intermediate, our gap for you to work with as a student was going to be the back room. And we just got done with the event, and there was 8 people on staff, and the lowest member of the team had 40 properties, and there were several Century Club members. So everybody on the team can answer all those questions for you, can help you, and then when you get in the program and work with us, it's just a constant moving forward. So there's literally, as you know, in the Burley family, I mean, there's weekly Zoom meetings that go on all over the country.
Everywhere.
Yeah, where myself and Eric and people like you, we regularly drop in on those calls, and it's just the idea is that we understand that Lone Ranger doesn't work. Heck, and most real estate investors are taught to try and be the Lone Ranger, and they forget Lone Ranger was never alone. He had Tonto and Silver. He wasn't even alone. And so we provide that support team that's not paid, that is generally just giving back and growing themselves from the success they receive in the program. So it's really amazing. We've been, phenomenally blessed, which doesn't mean that we got lucky. It means we worked very, very hard, and we're very, very blessed. I think most people who are blessed, yes, there was often grace given by God. There always is. But in addition to that, it was when you get down to it was like a really good idea, a really good model, a really good system, real good team development, and a lot of work. And so we're just excited to come out and share. You guys are awesome. I'm so proud of you for stepping in and doing the podcast, because it's a big commitment, my friend.
It is.
And you people who are listening to this, you are being blessed by this. So when you see Josh, make sure and tell him thanks, and let him know how much you appreciate what he's doing. And I look forward to coming out in Pittsburgh on Tuesday.
Yeah, no, I really appreciate your time. And again, I know you're coming off of a long weekend. You're up on stage all weekend and talking to people. And I've been to plenty of those events. I know you're in the hotel lobby at 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning, and then you stay and answer questions till after midnight a lot of times. And you just had 4 straight days of that. And for you to come on the take another 30, 40 minutes to talk to me, I mean, that's huge. So I appreciate that, and can't wait to see you guys and the rest of the Burley family in Pittsburgh on Tuesday.
It was a blessing. So hey, if you're in Pittsburgh, come on down Tuesday night. Acre's got a free copy of the book for you, and I'm going to be there helping you out, answering all your questions, taking you through it step by step. Josh, for you and your family and everybody listening tonight, I'd just like to say thank you. I'd like to say God bless, and I look forward to seeing you soon, my friend.
Thank you. Appreciate your time.
You bet.